Guten Morgen, my dear friends and family. Operator Starsky here, joined with my friend Sophia from Rostov, currently living in Kiev, and being extremely happy about this, which I completely share. And this morning was extremely full of news. All right. We will have another ASMR session here because my voice in the morning is just so fantastic. Anyways, it's good to see you, my friends. Good to see you, Maurice and Newman, Matias, Guten Morgen, and Matt, and Aurora 1978. It wasn't me. Hello. It wasn't me. You asked me in the comments, why I'm not using my travel mug that preserves warmth longer than the usual one. And the answer to that is because I have like this severe case of dementia. I forget that I have this travel mug all the time, you know. I need a notebook to write down things like that, but unfortunately I will keep forgetting that I have a notebook, so I don't know how to solve this problem. Sophia, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you so much. Nice to be here.
We also have Ali and Katie and Googleman81 there in the chat. Shaina and Andreas, Guten Morgen. Larry, Johnny, and Slava Ukraini and David. So good to see you, my friends. Let's check out the news. We have a lot of good updates. We have a lot of incredible updates, and we also have quite a bunch of our traditional Russian cringe. So let's check it out without further ado. Russians, this one is actually very interesting. My God, I'm getting carried away just a bit, but you know, starting the morning with like the smiling face of Lavrov, that is something like Jesus Christ, the man, the disgrace, the dying horse himself, right here. All right, we will talk about Lavrov in just a second. This one is actually serious, my friends. This comes from the Russian Gosduma, the Russian parliament. Anyways, the members of the Russian parliament adopted a law that allows the Russian conscription during the whole year, since 1st January until 31st December. Why it is so important to talk about? Because as far as I remember, there were basically two times, right? Like they were conscripting young Russian human material basically 2 times a year. And now this allows them to conscript Russians all the year. Why they do that? First of all, we're talking about the mandatory service, all right? The mandatory draft service. First of all, we know that Putin uses conscripts, like he doesn't give a damn. He used conscripts during the first months of the Russian invasion, before the mothers started like alarming, you know. And then he also used conscripts, for example, in the operations in Kursk. They were literally used as cannon fodder, and actually Ukrainian defenders incurring that oblast, they captured quite a few of those. And of course, they were all exchanged. They were not castrated like Russians do. They were not decapitated like Russians often do. Russians even decapitated some of the captured Ukrainian servicemen. We're talking 155th Brigade in Kursk. And all that stuff, they will not be executed like Russians do. They will have access from the International Red Cross and stuff like that, good food, warm blankets, amazing prison uniform and stuff like that. So they will be treated according to the rules, unlike what Russians do. But the very fact that they are adopting this law confirms the fact that they are actually preparing for the mobilization. I talked about it previously. Do you have any rumors about that, Sophia, about the possible Russian mobilization coming next year?
That would be logical, actually. I would say yes. I didn't hear it like per se. I mean, it's not on the news, of course, nowhere to be found, but you can say so. Yeah, this is going to be another wave of mobilization, and that's very sad, actually. Like you mentioned that Russians don't treat their um, I don't want to call them prisoners, but war captured people. Yeah, they don't treat them with dignity. They don't treat them, and that's very true. Like, don't say anything, okay? Look at the way our guys, like Ukrainian guys, coming from Russia. Okay, they are prison. They are dressed in prison robe. In prison robe, are they prisoners? Like, why do they have to be dressed like that? Okay, and that's what they force them to wear. Yeah, and this says it all. And another thing, like, sorry to long speak, but I can't just not say that. I have a friend, okay, in the Ukrainian army, and he said they captured once like a small group, and they found that there was a individual that was, like, he was not like, he was recently mobilized. Let's put it like that. He was like a civil medical person, yeah, medical um, person, and they captured this group. And this guy, he was from either from Buryatia or from some kind of Asian, yeah, Asian-looking Russian, and he was amazed that the Ukrainians, they shared like food with him because they captured him. They had to wait for a while, yeah, for someone else to come, and they shared food with him, and he was like, "Wow, you're giving me this," and they gave him this, like. We call it New Year packaging for Russians. Yeah, this yeah blanket, and he was warm, and he was given food, and he was amazed that he was treated this way.
Yeah, yeah. My friend Bogdan, who spent, I remember, I think 7 months in the Russian prison, he actually fought against the Russian prison dog for like a piece of bread. Yeah, so the news are kind of threatening. I actually talked about this upcoming Russian mobilization that is very, very possible next year, and actually a lot of experts are talking about this one because Putin needs more cannon fodder. The very tactics of the small groups, no matter how cool it may sound, but Putin needs more cannon fodder. And people might ask, like, what's the problem? Russia has a lot of people. There's like a very big population. Why he
Not
cannot?
a lot, not very big. That's the problem. That's the problem anymore. Not very big. Just imagine. Sorry for interrupting you. Let me give you some numbers, okay? It used to. I'm talking like a Russian, like a former Russian here, okay? Like there used to be 120 million population in Russia counted, okay? That was back in the 2000s. Now we're talking about barely 90 million population, and bringing out migrants is not going to help because since 2014, right before mothers started to raise their voice, okay, there was something, yeah, called like mass burying, yeah, and nobody was concerned about it somehow.
I just keep receiving insights from you. Oh my god, that's very interesting to know. Actually, 90 million.
90 million only, yeah, and you can imagine how like what it means for the entire country, right? Like imagine, like forget about that is to the Russian Federation, yeah, like imagine like a big country, yeah, and somehow people it starts losing people, yeah, it doesn't matter why, yeah, what reason. So it gets lower and lower and lower. What it means now, like first you start feeling it in the entry level jobs, yeah, where you don't need like a high qualification. So this suffers first. Then you start feeling it on the entry, sorry, not entry, level qualification, yeah, jobs where you need some skills, but you still can, you can learn it. Yeah. So that's eliminated as well. So now we're talking about high professionals, which are not really interested in staying in Russia or serving in the army whatsoever. So we're talking that like the I don't want to call it lower, but the base of any country is now going away, a waste, I would say.
That's extremely interesting. Galen and Masseri, good morning, and Max 7 Radio, Ruth Wolfer, Bernard, Neil, and HRM. Why wait, Lazy Bone, and Michael. So let's check out what we have next. Next, we have this. Oh my god, this fucking muzzle. Jesus Christ, holy mother of duck. So, Lavrov, during his recent press conference that took place during an event dedicated to Eurasian security, he actually talked about security guarantees for Europe and NATO. What he said during his absolutely amazing and hilarious speech, he said that Russia is actually prepared to guarantee security to the European countries and NATO because they don't want to attack European countries and NATO. I think the only one thing was funnier, all right, when he said recently that Russia didn't violate Budapest Memorandum. So basically, you can understand that if Russia guarantees security to NATO and European countries and then invades them, they can easily say that nothing actually happened, everything's fine, we are not at war, we are not invading anybody. Those those Russian paratroopers landing on the roofs of your houses, they are not violating anything. Everything is good, all right? Your government is lying to you. Fuck. Lavrov. Steve Sain says, I call him the Neanderthal horse. Absolutely. Like, look at this. And he's fucking smiling. Oh my god.
Yeah, he's smiling here, exactly. Like the horse is a horse, of course, of course. I'm sorry.
I keep trying to find that picture, like that Photoshop of Putin riding Lavrov, but I cannot see it anywhere. Remember from a conference where he was like going to the stage and he fucking collapsed, and there were a lot of cringy photos, and someone made a Photoshop of actually Putin riding Lavrov like a horse. That was so cool, but I cannot Google it. Anyways, Lavrov.
Yeah, some people just should not open their mouths, especially if they're in the political field. That's one of them, actually. Everyone that
Yeah.
comes out of his mouth is either offensive or illegal. How can you be that? Be that talented?
Yeah. I, looking at this, I think that probably they have some kind of new, communication agenda, because the dude literally smiles. It goes against all the foundations of Russian
Yeah, that's
communication.
true.
When,
Yeah,
where,
I think they changed the PR agency that you used to work with. I think they changed it because, like, you can see the piece of, foreign rhetoric, not like foreign in sense of like foreign language, but foreign means not belonging to this kind of people. You would never expect it. And now they started talking about like poor nation of Ukraine, which dictator Zelensky is killing in the war. And yeah, tell me, I'm one of them actually. I'm one of them that dictator Zelensky is killing in war. Yeah, you tell me. But yeah, I mean, and so on. But they started to adopt some new strategic maybe that would allow them to keep the face and get out of this shame, which war is for them basically.
could be. I think I have a version. I think that actually he might receive like communication advices from like Tucker Carlson, because I think that Tucker Carlson's visit actually, like last time he talked to him for like an hour or so. I think that Tucker Carlson's latest visit to Russia actually improved their collaboration and cooperation. Maybe Tucker Carlson, as an American, Americans like to smile and stuff like that. So maybe he tried to teach him some of the tricks, all right, communication tricks. Maybe, maybe,
The job
maybe.
as well, but yeah, but all in all, they used to work, and they still working with some foreign agency, which does PR for them and defines their like rhetorics in public. That's what. But Carlson as well. That's a part of the program.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we have? We have some actually crazy footage coming from the German outlet Welt that in October already this month was hit by the Russian Lancet drone during the my God, recording in the Dnipropetrovsk Oblast. One Ukrainian soldier unfortunately lost his life during this attack, and of course during recording of this footage, all the members of the media team had corresponding outfit, signs that they are representatives of the media, which is extremely dangerous. Russians will be striking journalists, Russians will be striking media teams, specifically aiming at them. And we have footage shared by our German colleagues that they took during this strike. And switching to a
Oh,
different update.
underlined CB
Yeah,
7.
I think this is your topic, and we can actually talk about this. So, according to Nexta, formerly successful Russian airline S7 and Ural Airlines that were flying to Europe and back, delivering passengers basically all around European countries, Turkey as well. So currently they are collapsing because after the beginning of the invasion of Ukraine, they faced plenty of sanctions, they faced lack of parts, and they faced increasing expenditures. And the biggest problem is their dependency on the Western technology. This on the photo, we are looking, I believe, at Embraer, right?
No, that's not Embraer. I think this could be 737 or something,
No.
something between.
Definitely not 737. That is
No.
Embraer, judging from its cockpit.
I
And
know that, yeah, shape is like, yeah, something small actually. But I didn't think they had Embraers actually. In my time, they stopped on 737s. That was the smallest one that they had. This is pretty representative. Like I used to work in Qatar Airways, and we used to have this Iran Air guys from Iran Air that used to work in Tehran, and then they were transferred to Doha. And they said actually this is a real deal. We think this is like it's okay. They can source the parts somewhere else, but the problem is no one will sell them this part. That's the problem. To get the aircraft part, you require like two parties at least, the seller and the buyer. Yeah, and the seller, they're very well aware of the sanctions and all these international restrictions that apply to Russia now. They don't sell, and that's the thing. Yeah, they have something that called like sourcing or Marador. That's how they call it. Then they source the parts from the other aircraft. Yeah, but the same the same airline, but the different aircraft. But this is like you can only switch, like play with it like so for so long. Yeah, like it has come to end anyway. So yeah, that's what is happening. And another thing is the traffic rights. Yeah, and now it's impossible. They're banned from everywhere. Like the moment any Russian aircraft with the least aircraft, okay, touches the ground of foreign land, it will be immediately arrested because Russia withdrew like all the leasing agreements. If you don't know, they basically stole the aircrafts which they were leasing. Okay, and now they are flying illegally on the stolen aircrafts. That's the state of the current state of the Russian aviation. So they have their own. They have 20014. They have 204. But these are minor. These are not very everywhere. They have this super jet, Bukhoy, like drum, like we call it, Boeing and Sophia, so Bukhoy. Yeah, but we all know what
Oh
this
my
is,
god.
and we all that all the avionics and all the parts they are basically from like foreign aircraft, so which is not very viable. So that's the challenges they are now facing, and that's very sad. I mean,
Oh my
that's
god.
sad for me, but yeah, I mean, cargo aviation is destroyed. It does not exist in Russia any longer. Cargo aviation, especially all cargo aviation, except for Aeroflot, of course, Holy Cow, does not exist in Russia anymore.
Oh my god, Sophia, you made my day with Bukhoy. Fuck. Oh, okay. We gotta stay professional. Bukhoy means drunk, but like drunk in like this very very hillbilly slang. I would say like that. Bukhoy. Fuck. Why I never thought about this one? It's so beautiful. I have a question for you, but before that, let's check out what the rest of the update says. So, of course, their aircraft, and especially those that they basically snatched, of course, they're dependent on Western technology. For example, 40% of the S7 fleet are equipped with Pratt and Whitney engines that in 2023, basically 2 years ago, they were revoked for the upgrade, and because of the sanctions, the S7 company could not send them to repair, and they cannot fix them themselves. So out of 105 aircraft, S7 only has 76 working, and the passenger flow in Russia decreased from 111 millions to 95 millions of people. Also, one thing that is extremely dangerous is flying the aircraft that that were worn out, that had no proper maintenance and technological inspection, because that, like every single flight that you do on this airplane, can be a one-way ticket, all right? And I remember either 2022 or 2023, Putin actually called all the Russian companies that could actually help somehow. He said, we should switch from receiving or not, rather not receiving the technological upgrades, repair and maintenance provided by Western countries like Boeing and Airbus to our own companies. We can create parts for Boeing and Airbuses ourselves, basically. Dядя Vanya in his garage can take a chainsaw or like a seesaw and or whatever, and like literally have a glass of vodka and build a part for the engine. All right. How dangerous is that, like in your opinion, as a person who actually worked there, all right, worked in this industry, how dangerous it is when you take Dядя Vanya and ask him to make, for example, screws to hold the aircraft together? Like, what does it mean?
That's an interesting question, actually. As far as I know, I don't know much about repair, about shop affairs, but what I know is there are several ways to acquire the part. Okay, there is an official shop, and there is a like third party. Okay, of course, official shop would never like that. I'm assuming basically like that based on my assumptions. Okay, and basically what happens. Official shop or official dealer, yeah, would never sell the part to the smirky company, to the shady company. Yeah. And that would want like it all. Third party, China, Chinese sellers and everything, they would. Yeah. But again, there's only that many shops in the world. And another thing, don't forget, this part is something that you need to pack up and ship to the place where your aircraft is, right? So that's another story. Like how to deliver it to the aircraft. Yeah. If there are like not a lot of flights that actually get to Russia and in and out of Russia now, like especially from the foreign airline. I'm not talking about this Afghan airline, like that's different story. Yeah. But yeah, that's the challenges they're facing now. They would not be sold on some parts, certain parts, impossible. It would not happen. And if you ask me how dangerous this is, the only danger that I see in it is unpredictability. You know, you may not know if this is going to affect anything or not. Of course, every airline construction has triple, um, triple like duplication. Yeah, yeah, it repeats itself. Like all the major stuff, all the major mechanics, it repeats itself like 3 times. So it gives you hope. But again, we all remember that catastrophe that was back in early 2000 in Russia, that Irkutsk S7. I was there actually. Like we had this crash and in Irkutsk, right? And the way it was Airbus 310, one of the last Airbus 310. And immediately next day, we dispatched another flight that were going to Irkutsk, bringing all the relatives and all the correspondent people there. But the same type of aircraft, the same flight, the same route, yeah. And the aircraft got broken down, got AOG, and you can imagine the fuss that was around, yeah, at that time. But all in all, yeah, you cannot know. And if you remember what happened there, basically they had a reverse that didn't work, and they basically could not yeah, slow down, and they hit the garages and all the structures that were like at the end of the runway. So yeah, you cannot know. That's the beauty. That's the danger.
So reversers failed. I
Yeah,
think I
reverse
read.
failed.
Yeah, I think I read about
Of
that.
course.
And generally, what basically everybody I think knows is the parts produced for aircraft, they produced according to some specific standards. So, for example, a screw that is holding a cockpit together, all right. It is made like it may look like the same screw you can buy in any hardware store easily, but it is made according to the specific standards. So the metal is some specific metal, not just ordinary steel. The way this metal was produced and hardened, there is like a whole process behind that. And if you take, for example, Dядя Vanya, who will be like, making those screws in his garage, that will be a catastrophe, I think. And that is why we can see, for example, growing percentage of failures in the Russian Federation. As far as I remember, as of 2023, the number of failures in the Russian aviation annually grew up almost by 90%, and already next year it was something like 200%. I might be wrong. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but
These are incidents. You're
yeah.
absolutely right. You are right. You are right. You're not wrong. But these are incidents. Incidents means that's like a whole thing. Like somebody smashed the fuselage. Somebody hit the wing. Somebody, yeah, yeah, yeah. All this, but all this, yeah, you're absolutely right. And another thing which came to my mind is you cannot manufacture these screws, for example, yeah, in somebody's garage because they have serial numbers. They have other articles, right? And you're supposed to put them on the log, on the technical log, all of it with all the serial numbers and everything. So basically, imagine everyone who is involved in Russian aviation now is under the siege, okay, under the criminal case, uh, uh, because like they break the law by even participating in it because they cannot acquire like specific parts, and they like juggling them from one another aircraft, and that's illegal by itself. You cannot do that, not in that extent. So basically, everyone who is involved in that now is illegally is involved in the illegal activity.
Yeah, that was crazy. Um, we have some really, really cool footage coming from Ukrainian defenders. So many times it was reported that even Mr. Heimers is involved into deflecting Russian attacks on Ukrainian positions. This one is shooting in Ukraine, like in our military slang, we say we are working, all right, we are working, with those guys, all right, over there. So we can see HIMARS opening fire on Russian invaders in the area of Dobropilya. It's HIMARS time. I've seen HIMARS working myself in 2023 in the area of Chasiv Yar, actually. It looked cool. I wasn't close to it. I saw it launching the missiles a bit from a distance, but it looked so cool. It looked very inspiring.
Was it
And
loud? Sorry. Let me ask you, was it loud?
well, the sound is pretty much like when BM-21 Grad works. Like the sound is pretty much the same, all right.
Uh-huh.
Like when the rocket is launched, but you can see that it's not BM, that it's actually HIMARS. Well, I knew that it was HIMARS because we had some specific information about that, but the very fact that the missile just flies from the forest and goes, somewhere. Oh my god! It just looks so good. Switching to the main update, I would say, of the day. So overnight, we had multiple reports of good Ukrainian drones coming to Russia to bring the Russian citizens happiness and joy, good impressions, motivation, things like that. First report coming from Belarus, all right, where good Ukrainian drones were intercepted by Russian military objects. Here we can see them. They say this is the third one.
Oh, I know the sound. I know that sound of the drones, of course.
Yeah, but this time it's coming, from the right direction
Of course, absolutely.
and into the right target, because guys, Sophia is in Kiev, all right, and Sophia, every single time Russian terrorists are trying to liberate Russian speakers of Donbass, sending masses of their drones and missiles at Kiev, basically they shoot all that at Sophia too, all right.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yeah, I have to confess, guys, I once see the missile, okay, hit the building, actually hit the building. So if any like uh after the war, okay, after the victory, they decide to put like Russians on trial, they can call me as a witness because I really witnessed with my own eyes, like the missile, not the PPO. I mean, not the this anti-air missiles, yeah, which we released, not this one, the specific one, the cap, the sound and everything. There was afterwards. I read there was not Iskander, Fingal. There was Fingal, okay, that hit the building in my own eyes, in my eyesight. Seriously, that was so shocking. I'm still in therapy on that. You can imagine. But I mean, like, thank you.
Holy fuck! Where did it happen?
That was basically I live on like no in front of the open space, yeah, and you can see some buildings from the far, and it was close to Giuliani. There was another time they bombed Giuliani and the airport, and yeah, they hit the building, and I saw it because I heard we all heard it. We heard the missile coming, but we couldn't see from where to where. And then I was on the balcony. I was smoking and I saw the trace of it, okay, that hit the building, no fire, nothing like that. And after that, it was like, since it was my direct eye scene, I got scared. I like scooched, but you could see the sound coming like little after that, yeah, little later than that, and it was horrible. Actually, it was horrible.
Yeah. Oh, shit. When during the siege of Kiev, when we were stationed, like
Oh no, no, no! The
early
recently,
months.
in summer, in the summertime.
Yeah. I'm saying that
Uh-huh.
when we withdrew from Hostomel and we were stationed in Kiev for a while in the early months, like remember there were several strikes. One of them striking this. Multi-story building in Solomiansky district, like the missile went straight through it. It was like 400 meters from us. Like
Mm-hmm.
we were driving past that building after that. Like it was insane. Yeah, but on the other hand, we have some encouraging footage here. We can see
Yeah,
that
some pleasant views here. I
yeah,
agree.
a military facility in Bryansk intercepted Ukrainian UAVs 3 times. And also, finally, my dear friends, we have motivating news. Yes, let me check comments real quick because I always keep getting carried away. Luke says, "Great interception." Uh, All right, Sky Mopeds, yeah, that's the thing.
I'm opposite.
Sky Moped, oh my god. So we have update coming from our NATO allies that actually started shooting down Russian drones now. Not far from Rido, a military town, Estonian military have shot down an unknown UAV. That is the news as of yesterday. So we can see that Estonians finally decided that fuck that shit. Let's not keep them flying, all right, over our military facilities, and they finally started shooting them down. I think it's a proper thing to do. Maybe Mark Rutte also changed his stance a bit because Sophia, I was ranting so bad these days because remember in the beginning he was like, we will shoot down anything, like whatever is flying, over our countries unauthorized, we will be shooting down everything. We are NATO after all right? We will be shooting them down. Next day he's like, well, we like spent some time thinking and we decided that we will not be shooting them straight away, all right, just in case. And then the next day he's like, well, of course we can shoot down everything because we're so powerful and strong, but we decided that if those aerial objects don't pose threat to our countries, maybe we'll maybe we will just let them fly, because why not? Fuck,
Yeah.
it's like imagine a Russian Tu-95, all right, flying somewhere over I don't know, Germany, for example, and with like this big banner, we come in peace, all right, and we are not carrying bombs. We're not going to strike you, of course. We're just flying, all right. We don't pose any danger, I swear. That is so
It's
fucked up.
interrupting your air, yeah, space, but
Yeah,
that's okay. We're here just to watch.
yeah. I just came to buy ice cream, all right, in McDonald's.
Don't you think this kind of sentences you only hear on the Pornhub? Oh, that's okay. I'm here to watch.
Nice one. All right, so we have another update coming from Budyonovsk. Stavrolian, it's a Russian facility producing different polyethylene, polypropylene, benzol, and other chemicals based on oil. All right, chemicals and materials. We can see
Камера,
this
конечно,
amazing.
говно.
What?
Камера, конечно, говно.
The dude is literally saying, "Камера, конечно, говно." He says, "The camera is shit." Dude, your fucking arms grow from your butt because you're holding it like that. It's not about camera. You're amazing
Cameraman,
cameraman.
yeah.
Yeah, better than Steven Spielberg.
На!
Nana.
It's twisted.
Yeah. So
Бабах. Хуясь.
yeah, it was from far away. Well, we can confirm at least one impact there, all right? We've seen it with our own eyes. I believe that we will hear a bit more updates on that. And also, only yesterday we talked about Ulyanovsk, all right? Tonight, Ulyanovsk was also visited by good Ukrainian drones that attacked the NS oil refinery in Ulyanovsk. Holy shit! We gotta talk like we. I think it works. You know, like this. You gotta call like more names, all right? Like when we talk during the streams, you gotta like call more names of the Russian cities, and most probably we can play, you know, like this tombola, like in Italy or something. Okay, so we have footage coming from Ulyanovsk. Again, beautiful firework, making Russian citizens happier, making them enjoy the special military operation, all right, that finally
Fireworks,
came home.
yay!
Yeah, because good Ukrainian drones bring happiness and joy. Oh my God, I'm trying to zoom it in. Like, the fire doesn't look bad to me, all right, considering the distance. Looks inspiring, and again, the reports say that all the internet in the area was absolutely shut down because this is what they do when they see Ukrainian drones and missiles. And here we have absolutely crazy story, all right? So the footage you can see on your screens is coming from a press officer of the 24th Brigade, all right? So remember the day when I shot down a drone, a Ukrainian drone though, but anyways. So this man deserves all the glory now, all right? My story sucks now compared to this one. Press officer of the 24th Brigade actually saved foreign journalists that he was escorting from a Russian drone by shooting it down. This one is absolutely crazy.
В церкву заходьте. Костя, до бою.
Костя, до бою!
До бою!
And you can see that he is armed with AR-15, right? Glory to Jesus! Glory to Jesus! Slava Isu.
Wow.
Well, how cool is that, guys? First thing, foreign journalists that go to positions, that go to record interviews with Ukrainian soldiers and basically travel anywhere, right, in the battle zone, they are always escorted by 24th OMBR. That dude looks very, very familiar there, actually. They're always escorted with Ukrainian press officers, and whatever is happening, the press officer's job is to provide security and safety to the journalists, also help them record better footage and stuff. But one of their primary tasks is, of course, to make sure that they stay alive, that everything's good, and the journalists are protected. So this man actually saved a group of foreign journalists in the church in Konstantinivka. You can actually see what the Russian bombs turned this church into, right?
My advice: don't stay here too long, because they will come back, and we need
Wait,
to hide somewhere from here.
Yeah.
Daphne, 2 pictures and go.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like the very
Don't stay here too long,
church looks,
because they
of
will come
course,
back.
very
And we
much
need to
damaged.
hide somewhere from here.
I've
Daphne,
been to Konstantinivka. I haven't been to this very church. All right, I've been to Konstantinivka several times. Actually, I was even driving during at night in Konstantinivka in the wrong direction, actually. But luckily I'm here. It was a very, very interesting experience. But yeah, of course, the footage itself is absolutely crazy. Like, why did they do that? I heard about the strike literally a couple of weeks ago, as far as I remember. Yeah, I've heard about this one. All right, switching to something different. We have some very, very interesting footage coming from the regiment of Kostuy-Skalinovsky. All right.
Oh, this is a Belarusian guys. Yeah, I know them.
Yeah, Belarusian guys. And here they show footage made with their FPV drone. You can see the drone actually waiting for their targets, hovering near a billboard, saying what? Saying
Putin.
Moskva,
And
Kreml, Putin. Moskva, Kreml, Putin.
Is that a road sign or a banner or what does it represent?
That's
are they for us or against us?
That's that's on the Russian territory. That's like literally the banner, and the FPV comes from the regiment of Kostuy-Skalinovsky, who actually decided to improve some of the Russian golf carts. And oh my god, like this looks like in the movie, all right, like this very footage. Starting with the banner, all right, then they are panning. Yeah. Holy shit.
It's like a game, actually. Yeah, oh my god, that's so cool.
And I think that they selected this place specifically because the banner is there, you know. Oh my god. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, that's very nice.
And speaking of Kostuy-Skalinovsky, the regiment of Kostuy-Skalinovsky is based on Belarusian nationals who participated, for example, in the protests against mustachio potato head Lukashenko, and a lot of them were prosecuted and stuff like that. So basically they ran to Ukraine because they realized that actually fighting Russians is a proper thing to do. I talked to some of the guys there. They say there was this movie director from Belarus who withdrew to Ukraine, right, to join the regiment of Kostuy-Skalinovsky, and he says, when we had protests in 2020 or something. When we had protests in Belarus, he says, our greatest failure was that we decided not to take weapons, all right? And we got fucked.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
And he says that basically right now, when we have this opportunity to fight against Russian invaders, that is also opportunity to fight against Lukashenko's regime. And that is actually very, very effective thing. It's not like fucking, I don't know, Max Katz, spreading bullshit about whatever, it's literally a very good and concrete opportunity to show your true position, right?
Absolutely. Sorry to keep your time. Like I have a friend. Okay, he used to be a sound engineer. Basically, he is a sound producer, the musical producer, and basically he used to work on events and in Minsk. Okay, and when this started, he left some comment on the website of the city council or something like that, and immediately he was taken out. Okay, he was imprisoned. He spent 3 years in Akrestina. infamous Kristina. And again, we're not talking about any military people, or we're not talking about like criminals. We're talking about regular guy. He used to be a music producer. He used to work on the studio, okay, on the events. And next day he knows he's been taken out of his house and put in prison. For what? Again, for leaving the comment at the website of the city council. Yeah. So he spent 3 years there. Then he managed to, when he got released, he managed to flew the country. And now he is safely in Europe. But the guy had 3 years of hell. He doesn't talk about it, but again, he's in therapy. Yeah, not to forget about that. And this is horrible. You never know. And so sorry, little self-representation. I have a small clip, yeah, and a small clip which I released back in 2020, I think. That was dedicated specifically to the Belarusian protests. And we put this song. We made it, me and that guy, Belarusian guy, he was still, free at that time, and some Russian guy, and we did three. We released a track that is called Freedom for Everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, my good friends from Pyryatin actually also wrote a very, very good song and music video dedicated to those protests. We had a lot of hopes regarding this one. Bridget there, by the way, asks me to tell you that our dear viewers and family there in the chat, they absolutely love you here in our stream. Yeah. And I am also very, very happy to have you here because you have a lot of very, very interesting information and insights. Good morning, Dolores. Good morning to the beautiful Ontario, Canada. My dear friends, so good to see you. Everyone who joined just a bit later. It's so good to see you here. Okay, what else do we have? We have a bunch of Russian cringe, all right? Like, some of it is not really cringy, it's kind of tragic, but Sophia, do you know Denis Kazansky, for example?
No, I don't think.
Denis Kazansky is one of the Ukrainian observers and journalists. He's in Kiev, he comes from Donbass himself, and he made this amazing compilation of heroes of Russia, basically people that were taken from prisons, brought to Ukraine, and then they returned back and they continue doing what they did, in order to go to prison. And this is actually something absolutely fantastic. This doesn't come from Denis Kazansky though, but he does that a lot as well. In Nizhegorодskaya Oblast, 32-year-old Russian hero, like this one, all right, hero of Russia, Russian liberator, Russian Z-Patriot, and everything else. He went to Ukraine and as you guys can already predict, he returned back not complete, all right? Yeah, not in one piece. He returned back alive, but missing parts of his body. He missed his leg, apparently. And first thing he did when he returned, he raped his 12-year-old stepdaughter.
In-law, yeah. Daughter-in-law. Stepdaughter, sorry.
Stepdaughter, yeah. Maxim Presnyakov, call sign Murzik, real Russian hero. This one is also like, it's a Russian cringe, but at the same time, this shit is actually sad when we look at this, because 18-year-old Russian soldier from Bashkiria died 1 month after signing a contract. And guys, remember in some of the previous episodes we talked about the Russian kids that are indoctrinated by the Russian church. There was a report actually coming from literally a bunch of Russian priests decided to throw like a conference dedicated to the role of the Russian Christianity and Orthodox Russian faith in like invading, the world. And they actually brought a lot of Russian children wearing camouflage, and they explained the role of Christianity in whatever war crimes the Russian army is committing. And basically, we were looking at those kids together with our dear viewers, and they were like 12, 16, 17. And looking at them, you realize immediately that in observable future, basically just a few years from now, they will be signing contracts with the Russian Ministry of Murders and Stolen Toilets. They will be signing contracts to go to Ukraine, participate in those, tactics of the small assault groups, basically the meat grinder, and they will be sent to death by Putin himself, by priests explaining that, true Russian Christians go to heaven, right? And literally, this is fucking ISIS version 2.0, all right? To me, that is literally the same. Tell me if I'm wrong, but the difference between ISIS and the terrorist federation nowadays is basically that they have snow and bears, and that's basically it.
Yeah, that's very true, unfortunately, and it's really sad. And let me tell our viewers more a bit about Russia. Okay, what Russian Federation is all about. This is basically some kind of land, okay, which thinks that all adjacent land has to be their land as well. So basically, there is such thing as we call it покоренный народ, but in fact, it's basically the people who used to live there before Russia, as we know it, in form that we know it, has come along. Okay, so basically these are Bashkirian people, Buratian people, or all Asian-looking people as we know them, but also some of their Finnish Hungarian tribes, which look like Finnish people, but they are like kind of mix between Slavic people and Finnish people. So you could tell. And basically, all these people, okay, they don't belong to the Russian Federation as we know it. They are like they had been forced, and they still being forced, okay, to participate in the federation. While some of them, since the very early 90s, when the Soviet collapsed, okay, when the Soviet Union collapsed, they did not want that. Economically and culturally, ideologically, you name it. Oh, yeah, but like I know that a lot of regions want out. Yeah, mainly at this point of time because Russia is killing their people, literally. So that's why it's sad, actually. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's sad to see, actually, all those kids raised with the idea that NATO wants them die, all right. Obama shitting, in their pants when they sleep. Obama throwing like tons of dirt around their like neighborhoods and things like that. Sorry, now it's Trump. Now it's Trump's duty, all right. Trump's duty to literally
Their
parachute.
cases, yeah.
Yeah, parachute at night somewhere in, I don't know, Tambov, for example, and literally throw the dog poop around, Russian backyards. That's what Trump is doing when they sleep at night. So the story of this specific individual, in April 2025, he signed the contract, and he died literally a month after that. Fucked up. It's so
Typical,
fucked
yeah.
up.
That's so weird.
He finished 9 grades of the school. Yeah, April he went to Ukraine, and May he became, I don't know, he actually went and had a better life.
Rhetorics.
This,
So let me show you this something, okay? Look at the rhetorics that how they speak about this guy, okay? Like, sorry, could you please get back this? Look, Vitaly. No, the next one, please. Vitaly was a very nice guy. Yeah, he was. He made the contract with the Ministry of Defense, and then like and then they was liquidated. I know that this is our news, yeah, I know that, but unfortunately, Russian media, they say the same things, they use the same sentences, yeah, this the same phrases, like he was like this, and then he was like deceased or liquidated, or all these, like adjectives, sorry, which they use, yeah, are kind of shocking. Actually, they are shocking.
Yeah. Another hero for Terrorist Federation on his car after he returned back to the terror Russia. He was driving his car, apparently very drunk because he was driving it very fast, and he crashed into a store. Here we can see the footage, for example. He crashed into a store with a bunch of people standing next to it. Two sisters, 7-year-old and 9-year-old, died at the spot. Their 11-year-old friend is undergoing reanimation, and this Russian hero, well, what can I say? He will probably go to jail, where he will most probably receive another opportunity to sign another contract, go to Ukraine, kill more people, and then basically return home and do whatever shit.
Yeah, that's true. And I see the comment here by Beep. Thanks for your comment. I don't get they don't revolve. I don't get why they don't revolve, right? This is what you mean to say.
Yeah.
Less chance of dying in the war. Like, let me tell you something actually. As former Russian, I can tell you that let me ask you actually, yeah? Are you personally ready to be, like leveled with the ground, with the asphalt by the tank on the streets of your own city? Are you personally ready for that? So they are not ready for that as well. I was not ready for that. That's why I left it. Not everyone is ready to be shot by the army. Not everyone is ready to be shot by like to be taken to prison, right? You cannot blame people for that. I'm sorry, not on this stage. I understand that would be possible back in the early 2000s, right, where things were different. But I can tell you, if in 2014, okay, we in Russia, I wasn't at Russia at that time, but if we had a full information of what was happening in Ukraine at that time, so we knew that people, okay, could roll on the police cars. People, okay, could fight the police, fight back. They could fight back for their people. Yeah, so no one would be taken. If we knew all this, things would have been different, I can tell you. But I'm sorry, like I agree with you. Like something has to be changed. But let me tell you from the perspective from the individual that not everyone is ready, yeah, to be rolled on by the tank. I'm sorry, I wasn't ready for that. So I understand your feelings and why they don't revolve, but that's why they don't revolve, because not everyone is ready for that, and not everyone is ready to fight Ukrainians in the mythical war, which doesn't exist. Yeah, the conflict doesn't exist. It's all a lie. So yeah, that's why I'm sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. This is again something I can never understand. For example, when Ukrainians were literally fucking up the police cars and throwing Molotovs at Berkut that was shooting them, all right, with like firearms. For example, in Russia, they had Navalny taking selfies in the police car while going to like police precincts. And we were looking at that thinking, what the fuck? Like, for example, at Bolotnaya, there were so many fucking people.
Oh, Bolotnaya, it's yeah, I was there. I was there at the time. I was there. Basically, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Just can you share your thoughts on why Russian opposition literally has absolutely no balls and no cock? Like they would rather just. I don't know. Now they cannot even protest peacefully in Russia because if you stand there, for example, with an empty banner, you're taken away with the police. Back then, when they had millions of people supporting them and they had really chance to actually stop this war from happening, fucking Navalny would, I don't know, make a bunch of selfies and ride a police car to precinct and back and shit like that. In the country that despises democracy, how much can you fight the war with democratic measures and democratic tools like that, with peaceful protests and, for example, like we saw in Belarus?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I witnessed that Bolotnaya in 2010. I was there at the time. I was living in the downtown, so basically I saw what it was, and I can tell you it was never the goal, okay, to finish off the regime. It was never the goal. If it was, things would be different. They would have been different, of course, by now. But I can tell you, Navalny, okay, he was always, he used to be, I know I represent the unpopular opinion, but I'm sorry for that. But Navalny had always been the pocket opposition. He was never the real power. Whatever he was doing was helping people, all right, but it had nothing to do with the real problems, okay? He was fighting for some, I don't know, rainforests in Moscow region, for some trash utilization, okay, for all these things that are important, but they do matter for people, okay, and they gain their respect and but they opposition should be doing different things. That's the problem. They were doing right things, but opposition, if they call themselves opposition, um, should be doing different things. And in Bolotaya, they had banners, they had people, like it was like a whole bunch of people like you couldn't imagine, but they didn't know what to do basically. It was never the case, they didn't know. Like at that time, it didn't seem so threatening. We didn't know that it was coming. Come on, 2010, yeah. And not bothered actually. Yeah, people like power was concerned, government was concerned about like a lot of people like coming around, like a lot of people, the whole downtown, yeah, was crowded by people, but basically it was like very, very quickly finished. And let me remind you, there was another event back in 2008, so-called Manezhnaya, when the bunch of football fans, without any leadership, without any agenda, without any preparation, almost took down Russian government in one freaking shot. So it took them only like a few hours to paralyze the downtown, to paralyze the work of police. And if they didn't bring more like military troops, like real military, the one which we fight now in Ukraine, okay, they would have never be able to deal with the situation because that was that close from collapsing everything. And after that, the things would have been really unpredictable.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you 100%, and I would say that the only true opposition that I can see nowadays that actually does something is literally Russian Voluntary Corps, Russian Legion Freedom for Russia,
Yeah.
Siberian Battalion. They are all fighting in Ukraine with blue-yellow patches on their shoulders, and they're fighting against the Russian terrorists. Doing something actually, all right, doing something that is real, not like fucking, I don't know, sitting somewhere in the safety of Spain and, discussing, well, if we tell Putin 1,000 times that he should stop, then he will stop because Putin is a great tactician, I shit you not, I've heard that from literally Russian talking heads, all right? There was this absolutely amazing dude when Navalny was still alive. I think it was on Medusa, I can't be wrong though, but he was like, Putin is a very, very good tactician, all right? He has this very good tactical thinking, and if we keep telling him, release Navalny, let him go, so eventually he will let him go. All right, and the fucker dies like a month later, in prison.
Yeah,
And when you listen to geniuses like Max Katz, for example, who is asked, why don't we use Ukrainian experience? Because generally speaking, Ukrainian Revolution of Dignity was the only revolution that actually succeeded, right? Compared to everything else taking place like around the post-Soviet space. This is the only revolution that actually succeeded. We made sure that the corrupted government is not ruling Ukraine anymore. The corrupted government is removed. Yanukovych fled to Russia and everything else. Our revolution actually won, right? Even though we don't celebrate it much because of all the people we lost there, but still, like, it's a fact. And Max Katz, for example, is asked, why don't you use the Ukrainian experience, because there's 1 million Ukrainians sitting there, like, fucking ask Starsky, all right? I was there myself. I can fucking give you free advice for a donut, basically, because I will work for food, of course. But I will fucking share all I know about this shit, all right? Max Katz is like, it will not work with Russia because Ukrainians, we should not use their way. It's not Russian way, all right? We know better. We know how to sit in the safety of Europe. We know how to get donations from the people supporting the poor Russian refugees who fled the regime, and we know basically how to make money, all right? Max Katz has a very, very big following, by the way. So the fuck is this shit? Seriously, looking at Max Katz, I feel, a lot of this urge to vomit, like, straight in my computer. But when I check, for example, Telegram channels of Russian Voluntary Corps, all right, and I have a lot of friends there, by the way. Russian Voluntary Corps, Siberian Battalion, I feel a lot of inspiration. I feel a lot of pride because those guys are actually doing something, all right? When Navalny went to Europe talking about her poor husband who died, I feel pity for him, all right? I actually do, because nobody is supposed to die in prison, being poisoned and shit like that. That was fucking inhumane, all right? Whoever Navalny is, but he was a victim. He was murdered, and it was completely unjustified and improperly thing to do that to a human being. Yeah, but at the same time, Navalny went all across the Europe to the United States talking about her poor husband and trying to, pretend that she is doing something good. But at the same time, I don't even remember her visiting, not mentioning like Ukrainian wounded soldiers in the European hospitals. She didn't even visit her own Russian soldiers fighting against the Russian invaders, all right? Also undergoing treatment in the European hospitals. I don't remember literally Navalny going to hospitals to meet the guys from the Russian Voluntary Corps, fighting against Putin and things like that. Fighting against a fuck who killed her husband. Shit, if I was her, I would donate fucking millions every day to the guys. I would raise awareness. I would go on campaigns around Europe talking about this, all right? But she actually said, well, people on both sides are dying, like both people, like Ukrainians and also those poor Russian invaders, they're also dying. And that is why... Tell me what you think about it, because I'm just when I start ranting about this shit, I can go on for like hours.
I understand you. I agree with you actually. This is a long and convoluted conversation actually about Russian opposition and who can be considered a Russian opposition today. Basically, for me, okay, as an old school, Navalny had always been the pocket opposition. We couldn't take him seriously. We would have bet more on Tisak rather than on Navalny at that time, because Tisak, Maxim Marcinkevich, we're gonna tell people who that was. Basically, he was better. He was having a better representation in front of the young people. Okay, we know he was a murderer. He was seriously, no excuse on that. He was a murderer. He went on trial on that, and later on they discovered more of his murders, but that's a different story. If we're talking about his representation in media, okay, with his anti-pedophile campaign on his he had his bunch of his share of freaks, okay, he did. But if we're talking about the influence, how influential he was, okay, you can't deny it. And he was like, and they said he was murdered in prison, but in reality, we think we in the like ultra right environment, we think that he committed suicide because it was very beginning of the time when they started buying out bloggers or threatening them out, uh, forcing them to collaborate, and basically you can imagine I'm sure he realized what was coming, okay? And basically he knew that the only choice that he had is basically to collaborate and to completely wipe out his image from that he used to build up like through the years, okay? It was a controversial image, but it was an image anyway, yeah? Or he was facing the choice of, like acting out, which he did, and which cannot blame him for that. Navalny is a different story. Yeah, he was like a public figure. Kisak was also public figure, more like marginalized public figure. But if we're talking about influential power, okay, Kisak had more. Definitely 146% more.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if we're talking about opposition, you asked me about like opposition nowadays, okay? I read stuff about the Mikhail Plitnyov, if you know who that is. And I was absolutely amazed that these people are considered like modern Russian opposition. They think they're lame, being sent away in Tbilisi. Seriously? They couldn't fight the government, but they started with fighting the bars in Tbilisi. Yeah, like defeating alcohol with their bodies, prevent its. Yeah, I mean, what is this all about? What does it mean what does it have to do with the Russian opposition whatsoever? Russian court is good, but again, my personal, highly personal opinion, okay, they can be considered new Russian opposition, but military should not run the country at this point of time. That's my personal opinion. Yeah, but yes, if we're talking opposition, FDK is better, is a more opposition than anyone else now.
Yeah, I agree. Ukraine basically gives a chance to all those guys coming from Russia to receive Ukrainian citizenship, like asylum, everything else, and
Ukraine
there's
doesn't give asylum. That's a problem. Ukraine, you can ask me on that. Ukraine does not give asylum, unfortunately. That is why a lot of people still having Russian passports, they fled from Ukraine, get a protection from elsewhere, and came back to Ukraine. That's all I know happened massively. I don't want to leave Ukraine because I'm really scared to be locked out. To be honestly, yeah. And that's the reason why I'm still here. I will be here till the end, basically. Whatever happens, I will be here. But anyway, like at the same time, I'm basically baseless here because like I cannot receive protection, I cannot receive asylum, I cannot receive anything at this point of time.
that's interesting. What's the reason behind that?
Mm, Asylum is not just the option. It's not the option for Ukraine. I mean, they just don't give it. Yeah. Um, Other stuff is highly like discretional, so it depends on the discretion, and there's like a lot of stuff involved in that. So all in all, I was told by the immigration department to like keep waiting until the victory, and after the victory, within 30 days, we will be allowed. Yeah, it's like a release period, like a freeze period. We'll be allowed to renew our documents.
Ah, that's the thing. I see. The wartime regime, basically.
But yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's the reason, for example, why remember the pilot, the Russian pilot who landed the aircraft in Ukraine, the helicopter in Ukraine.
Hey,
He was later murdered in Spain, but
in Spain.
he was sent to Spain. Actually, I think that's the thing that Ukrainian government can do basically with such people.
They send people to Spain, and you know that Spain is a playground for Russian these special services. That's very bad, unfortunately. That's yeah. But we cannot critique on the actions of Ukrainian government on this case. Nothing at all, not at all. But anyway, sending people to Spain is like sending them to death.
Like we can argue here because In Ukraine currently, it's not the best. Let's say, if you want to stay in the peaceful environment and protect it, then of course Ukraine is not an option because of the missile strikes, because of the terrorist attacks, and because of the assassins. All right, we saw assassination attempt against Ternenko and everything else. Ukraine is currently a battleground, right? But at the same time, it's much easier to see, for example, a Kadyrovite walking down the street somewhere in Germany or Spain than in Ukraine, for obvious reasons. And we know that, for example, Russians are recruiting a lot of Dagestani and like assassins from that part of the world. Again, because they're fucking dumb and they can commit whatever crimes they're paid for, right? People might remember the bombing at Boston Marathon in the United States. All right, who committed this crime? This crime was committed basically by two Russian immigrants from Caucasus. Like same shit.
Correct.
All right. They are often chosen for not always, and again, I'm not trying to say like they are like lower race or something, God forbid, but they are often chosen, all right, to do that because Russians know approach to those people and they know how to use them properly, right, as disposable assassins all the time. So it's much easier to find those, for example, somewhere in Dusseldorf than in Ukraine, somewhere in Kyiv downtown or anything. So we can argue a lot. Like this stuff is this stuff has a lot of sides, all right, to discuss.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like there are advantages and there are disadvantages, all right? Currently living both in Ukraine and in Europe. I thought that the reason they sent, for example, that pilot to Spain was because the Spanish security forces that actually had to provide, some kind of protection to this man because he was very, very important. I think Ukrainian government relied on them, all right? And of course, he made a big mistake by calling his ex somewhere in Russia. Fuck,
Definitely. Yeah, absolutely.
Never call your ex, all right? That
Never
shit,
call your ex. Yeah.
that shit is deadly, friends. Don't call your ex.
It's like yeah, but it's not only ex. Like, let me tell you something. Okay, like now there's another challenge which Russian like. I will keep the term like a good Russians, okay, in the way that they're still alive, okay, like normal people, adequate people from like just happen to have a Russian passport, okay, they like that's another beauty because just think, you're a person, you find yourself living in the hostile country which you used to consider your own, okay, and your next question is how do I get out? At this point of time, borders are closed. Immigration is strictly regulated. Okay, you cannot get out of the country just like that. So even especially if you're male, if you happen to be a male, okay, and now you don't want to go fight Ukraine, okay, on the mythical war. Okay, what are your options? Option number one, RDK. Obstacle number one, your own parents, your own relatives, okay, who might be infected by this Russian propaganda and who would do anything to prevent you from going there. There are cases like that. You must have heard them when parents basically gave in their own child, their only child, to special services because he was planning to run from the country and serve in LDK. This is something. And another thing, when you like, if God forbid you find yourself in the position where you're already in Ukraine, okay, in the army, but you still don't want to do that. That's another challenge, okay? You have these phone numbers which you could call in Ukraine, which you could get you out of the army safely, yeah, and with all related with this protection and everything. But again, another obstacle is your own parties, okay, which would do anything to stop you from there. So you're facing challenges from everywhere. Even if you like, okay, I don't know, maybe you've been in coma till this time, so you don't know what was happening during like the last 10 years. But if you like really like actually wake up and find yourself in a situation when you don't want to do that, your options to get out are very, very limited.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And again, there's such challenges as, for example, you have parents and relatives in Russia. What is going to happen to them, by the way? That's a different question. If
Let me tell you, actually, last time I spoke with my parents, okay, I discovered that that was not really them. So basically, they either gave in their credentials of their account to special services, or special services took over their accounts, which basically for me does not have any difference, right? So that's the Russian, like cruel reality. My relatives basically gave me into the special services.
that's so fucked up, my friend.
Well,
That's
yeah, and this
that's
is recent news, basically. This I was contacted recently by one of my family member, and the questions that he was asking me, yeah, did not add up with what I know about them. And the questions were like, where are you? I was like, oh, they know I was in Kiev, so that's all good. And they were asking like, hey, I know that you miss us. Hey, why don't you come over here? Hey, it's not that like horrible here. You're exaggerating. You're not gonna be taken. No one's gonna, do anything to you. So just come back.
yeah. Stirlitz was never closer to failure than that.
That close, exactly.
Yeah, it's
Exactly.
like, hello, this is Masha, your very own sister from Russia. How are you doing? We miss you so much. By the way, what were you doing on the night of between 12th and 3rd of November in 2023 when you had a conversation with two Ukrainian military servicemen? And by the way, where are the missiles located? Around Kiev, to protect the skies. I'm asking just for myself, just out of curiosity.
Yeah, just for the friend. That's okay. Yeah.
Oh my god, that's crazy, but it's and fucked up at the same time. So we have some footage coming from the Russian Belgorod Oblast, where beavers attacked the Russian dam and actually flooded just a bit of the area. We know that they were beavers. For sure, all right. Our yesterday's investigation actually concluded that they were beavers, and we can see, for example, Russian military vehicles literally flooded, all right, and those beavers. Oh my God, Russians cannot literally cross the area on their Chinese
Yeah.
bikes.
A lot of difficulties facing. Yeah, that's. Oh my God.
What a life.
I pity the fool actually. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. On the other hand, I think like this dude, like the one that is making a footage, he's actually happy. He's like, now it's like in my favorite, like in my home in Ulyanovsk, all right?
I feel home now.
Yeah.
Look at this majestic landscape. Do you feel inspired? I do feel inspired. Inspired to get hung myself.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, this is the place where you want to live like very, very long and happy life until you're like 38, for example, or 39.
Yeah,
at least.
that's a nice age to live. Yeah.
All right, what else do we have? So one of the Russians from Deshergia Rusich, and those are literally open Russian Nazi.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, ultra right. Yeah.
Self-proclaimed Russian Nazi. They actually showed a footage of why the Russian. I think it's like a bit too
graphic. Yeah, please.
yeah,
please.
too graphic. Let's watch Beautiful Russian Swamp, and I will explain what he showed in his footage. So he explained that the Russian tactics of small assault groups, which is again consists of literally throwing groups of Russian men into a meat grinder over and over and over and over again until several of them manage to basically survive and create a position for new Russian men to come. So he decided to run down a road towards his position in one of his meat assaults, and he recorded several dozens of Russian bodies literally scattered in the area, just to show that the Russian tactics of the Russian smaller assault groups don't really work, but they don't really work if you serve in a proper army, all right, where your commanders actually fucking care about you, where government doesn't want to send you into a meat assault because your mother will be asking questions and the government will have to respond. In Russia, no one is asking questions because Russia has no freedom of speech, and that is why you're literally sent into a meat assault like a fucking piece of burrito, and you will get eliminated easily. And that is why he literally made this footage of him running around showing the remains, all right, of Russians literally sadly and tragically, but not for Ukrainian cucumbers that they will be fertilizing from now on, they turned into this freaking fertilizer. So yes, they the guy who actually made this footage recorded at least 25 bodies literally scattered on the same road, all right, that is like 100 meters long. Here we have more. Sophia, what do you think about those smaller assault groups? Like, what are your thoughts and impressions about them?
Dear Gerusich, if I'm not mistaken, consists of mainly football fans, right? And people, yeah, who are like very close to this environment. And we used to know some people actually, and that's the very, very sad, as like when this whole thing started, they somehow thought that fighting against like neighbor country is something cool, which they should which they should be participating in. And my question to them has always been like, don't you think that all in all, supporting the regime, which had been cruel to you through all these years, since the very beginning, it's not really something that you should be doing as a far right activist, which you probably consider yourself? Yeah. And the answer was, no, you don't understand. Everyone should be afraid of us. We are superior. We are like superior nation. We should be ruling the world. So, oh, okay, fine. That's all. That's all. Take your medicine, please. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very bad. And small assaulting groups, like you talking about tactics or like in general? You better tell me about it.
Yeah, but we were talking about those, meat waves, meat assaults, because the people that actually admire Russian army, like for example, if you take a look at Colonel Douglas MacGregor, who says Russians are so strong, you have no idea how strong they are. Scott Ritter, who literally goes there and drink with them, which, by the way, according to Russian prison culture, you cannot, not only you cannot drink together with sex offenders like Scott Ritter, you cannot even fucking touch them, all right? Because according to Russian prison culture, that's zapadlo. It's like, it's a ban, it's haram, all right? And Russian officers literally standing there and drinking together with Scott Ritter, who celebrated somewhere in the Russian embassy or something like that. That was cringy as fuck. Like, those Russians, I think they will not find many volunteers in the Russian prison because they would not even like to touch the paper to sign the contract, offered by those. We have a footage showing Russian position in Belgrade. That's a literally Russian position, Russian bunker that is flooded. So finally, they will have this amazing opportunity to finally take a fucking shower there. What else? We have an explosion at the substation, Russian substation, located, I think, in Ulyanovsk. I might be wrong, all right? I think this one is in Ulyanovsk because there are four main main targets hit by good Ukrainian drones tonight. Yeah, looks absolutely beautiful to me. A beautiful bonus, all right, a beautiful bonus. And here we can see again, I think this is Ulyanovsk being hit on this amazing footage, recorded on a potato in the dark night by a Russian individual. That's freaking amazing. So tonight, Russian citizens had amazing opportunity to experience all that. On your screens you can see there were a lot of drones actually.
You check the geography, please. I cannot see. I can read it from here, but it's between this to find. But where were they hosted this night? Last night, sorry.
Look, majority of them were heading from North Ukraine towards, over Smolensk, Bryansk, towards Tver, over Bryansk, Oryol, Kaluga, Tula, towards Moscow. They were heading towards Ryazan and turning again towards Tver. They were heading to Cheboksary.
Okay, let me read it out as a weather forecast. Okay, last night Russian citizens experienced moderate to strong drone rain, and that was going all the way through the territory of Russia, touching Oryol, Tula, and Ryazan, targeting Moscow, Vladimir, and all these creepy places. Okay.
Yeah,
And
raining
more
drones.
more of that. Yeah, Ukrainian rain drones. That does it sound?
Yeah, raining drones. Whatever you hear, my dear citizens of Bryansk, is not explosions. That's literally thunder. That, fucking thunder hit our substation. Of course, nothing to see here. Love Putin, drink vodka, everything will be fine.
Yeah.
So there was another wave of drones coming from Belgorod towards Voronezh, Penza, and Ulyanovsk. In Ulyanovsk, that Russian oil refinery was hit, and they also turned to Mordovia and hit several targets there, from what I can tell. Ukrainian jet drones, or those jet drones / missiles, were heading towards Saratov, and another wave of good Ukrainian drones were heading all the way towards Samara. All right, they have a big oil refinery in this region as well. They were striking.
Refinery in the airport as well. It's used in like a in between point, like intermediate point as well. Pretty much.
Yeah. Another wave was spotted over Crimea, temporarily occupied by Russian terrorists, heading towards Sevastopol. I will tell you what exactly target was hit in Crimea just a bit later. And also quite a big wave of drones was heading over Rostov to Stavropol, Krasnodar, and Novorossiysk.
Ports, oil refinery, and some infrastructure as well. So that's what they're talking. Don't bomb Rostov too much. We're gonna need it. Do you know, right, that Rostov-on-Don used to be a part of Dnipropetrovsk gubernia? So yeah, it used to be basically a brother city, a twin city of Dnipro.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, let's make it Ukrainian again.
Kalmykia, actually, I can see that they went over at least towards Kalmykia, Astrakhan, in that general direction. I'm not sure if they were intercepted. Again, we don't see much footage nowadays coming from those areas because actually Russians don't make as much footage as we anticipate. All right, maybe they are learning that they should not actually record everything they can see.
They're hiding. They're just hiding, you know.
Yeah. All right. So what else do we have? We have some more Russian cringe here. All right. So here we have a very interesting meme portraying the Kirill Dmitriev. I saved this one. I know that it might not look really funny because it's in Russian, but I will translate this for you. So on this picture, Kirill Dmitriev, who spent some beautiful time in the United States. He went to McDonald's finally for the first time in years.
Yay! McDonald's tour.
He says, I spent 12 hours flying from Moscow to Washington only to tell you that we don't care about your sanctions. So this one is absolutely beautiful.
No,
Yeah,
that is some anecdote. You remember? I was running for 3 hours just to confirm I did not care about you.
yeah. Again, friends, don't call your exes. It's deadly.
Yeah,
And
that's absolutely.
yeah, this one is absolutely beautiful. Apparently, apparently Western sanctions against Lukoil and Rosneft don't work so much, so they decided to sell all of their Western assets after those sanctions were placed on them. That's just so beautiful. What else do we have? I'm sure that you recognize this character over here on your screen. All right. So that was a prosecutor from Crimea. All right, a famous Ukrainian collaborationist that became famous because she literally gave up to Russian troops as soon as Russians invaded Crimea in 2014. She became extremely well known around the internet. So turns out that she became fucking insane. Her name is Natalia Poklonskaya, but not today. Today she's known as Radveda because she decided to switch from Russian Orthodoxy to Russian paganism, and that is why she became an outcast in the Russian Orthodox Church. And the Russian Orthodox Church basically cursed her for doing that. She became Radveda. Holy fuck. I don't know what to comment here. Like,
No, let me speculate a little bit here, okay? I used to follow her when she was like just switched sides, let's put it like that, okay? And at the time, she seemed like relatively fine. The only thing that she was suffering from was like obsessive compulsive syndrome, okay? Which was fine. Which you could tell actually by this falling into religion, like falling, like not just following something, but really falling for it. So that was it. Okay. And then actually it progressed. I'm not sure what kind of like if she has any diagnosis. I'm talking like seriously. I'm not talking jokes here. I'm not sure if she actually has some diagnosis, some psychiatrical diagnosis, which would lead to this. But if I could tell, I'm not a professional, okay, just speculated. But if I could tell, I would say that this obsessive compulsive syndrome, okay, either evolved or was accompanied by some kind of, with deeper symptoms, like deeper diseases. Like I'm not saying schizophrenia here because you have schizophrenia, you have like a lot of stuff which actually gives you the same symptoms, but not, making you an invalid, like not invalid, but not making you a disabled person. Yeah. And here, that's what we see basically. We see like obsessive compulsive syndrome, 100%. Okay. I bet on it. And then you could see like some schizophrenia because like that's what they do. That's exactly what they do. All this new paganists and all. And also, I mean, come on, that's the new Russian paganist in 2020 something real. That's the stuff from the early 90s. Like late 90s actually, when Dolbaslavy, all this nonsense, like that's what it was. And should they still do it? Oh my god, these people are like far behind the modern time, like far behind.
They kind of do because Starovera, correct me if I'm wrong, but this very like old believers in Russia.
Different. That's totally different. What she follows, like she's falling for, okay, is something which belonged to Trikhlebov, Fomenko.
Trikhlebov, yes. How could I forget? Yeah.
Yes, these people exactly. So that's what it is. That's what it is, and that's why it's even more like cringy because are they still doing that?
They kind of fucking do. And, the other day I was showing our dear family there in the chat, I was showing them this amazing compilation of Russian martial arts involving, contactless combat using orthodox cross and things like that. The start of, like shooting mind bullets at people and people just, like fly away. Система Kadachnikova, like all that stuff. I think like that is closely related, to such things. Why? Because
It is. Yeah, that's one of the branches.
like people are trying to find some magic pill to solve all their problems. Like for example, in martial arts, like if a dude doesn't work out at all, doesn't give a shit about not even about going to gym or something like that, but literally at least running, all right, in the morning, or literally going to the gym and fucking join the boxing club, all right, if he feels like insecure. So what will he do? He will be looking for a magic pill. He will be looking for Sistema Kadachnikova. He will be looking for Russian style of Starov. He will be looking for that Chkharyok. Fuck, Chkharyok fucking tore me apart. You know Chkharyok? Chkharyok is... I couldn't stop laughing, actually. I almost tore apart my belly, while laughing. That, fuck.
Okay, yeah.
People are trying to find magic pill, they're trying to find, like, literally magic powers that allow them to just, kill people on distance, shoot those, like, mind arrows, yeah, and actually... They feel extremely happy about, acquiring those magic powers that work in the gym, all right, when you, like, do, and your friend goes like, all right, I'll make you happy this time, all right, and he falls down. And then he goes on the street, gets bullied by some Dagestani in the back alley, and they just, turned him into their very, very own Russian bitch. So that is fucking insane, and closely related to this phenomenon of Russian fake martial arts. I believe that shit, like paganism, Tverdokhlebov, and everything else, because again, people are trying to find magic pill, and she, for example, she wakes up in the morning, and she thinks, why the fuck Russians hate me? So, like, all right, I'm hated by Ukrainians because I spent my whole life living in Ukraine, and then I just literally betrayed my country, all right? Then Russians hate me because they think that I'm Untermenschen, all right? Because technically I'm Ukrainian, that's why I'm like lower race to all the Russians, and they literally see me as nyashmyash, attractive Ukrainian meat, all right? That's basically it. They think that I'm like this stupid chachlushka, stupid Ukrainian woman, and they don't want to accept me, all right, as one of theirs, despite whatever bullshit they say that we are the same people and everything else. But again, you can tell, all right, like what Russians actually think about Ukrainians, Kalmyks, Bashkirs, and everything else. So she's trying to find a magic pill to actually help herself, all right, somehow. And she finds this esoterics, Елена Blavatsky, Tverdokhlebov, all sorts of shit, cosmos, astral bodies.
Wolf Dobroslav, Wolf Dobroslav.
Wolf Dobroslav.
You remember, yeah, now you remember the same thing that I do. So you're now suffering as I do.
Wolf. Oh my God, I cannot laugh anymore. Jesus.
Yeah, that was so long ago, basically. That was so long ago. That's the main point. So long ago, and they're still doing that. Like, which kind of box, like ice box, are they coming from? I do not understand. I do not comprehend. I don't.
I just want to find this one. Oh my God, show me. Volh Dobroslav. Oh my god. Oh, this is so
there is
good.
a Russian blogger who fled Russia. He's now, I think, in Tbilisi, Mikhail Lidin, and he
Yeah.
does these reviews, and he's like strictly against war. He stated it from the very beginning. I respect him for that. Yeah, like, and he was tough enough to leave Russia, and he has an amazing review on that. Like, I highly recommend it. Whatever you can, you can see that will be there.
Yeah. Wolf Dobroslav. So this amazing Wolf Dobroslav.
Boboslav.
He would explain, the. Oh fuck! What I see here.
Yeah. Hmm.
That's
Intoxicated, huh?
that's so good.
Intoxicated, yeah.
Oh my god. All right. Well, generally, this is like this is so fuck. How to call it? Such a familiar picture. All right. Such a
But it's
familiar
so
picture.
cringy. That's our favorite branch, like a Russian cringe. That's what it
Yeah.
is. That's what it's
Yeah.
all about, definitely. And the main cringe is they still doing that in 2025.
Yes. And
Where did you
basically,
go from it?
Poklonskaya is a good example of that. Fuck. Like, so, Steve Sane asks, Gandalf, Gandalf, what happened to you, Gandalf? Shit.
Mandalorian
Gandalf,
out of 5, yeah.
Gandalf spent too much time in Mordor.
Russia. Like, you can imagine this meme, okay? Like that's what happens when you spend too much time in Russia.
Yeah. Gandalf, went into a wrong toilet in Mordor, and
Yeah.
fuck, that is. I fucking love this. I fucking love this. Oh my god. Okay, guys. People ask about, all right, you are biased, all right, because you're Ukrainian, Sophia lives in Ukraine and stuff like that. They say you are biased. I agree. There's cringe on the Ukrainian side as well, because I personally remember several guys who claimed, and they were actually Ukrainian professors. Some of them claimed that Jesus was Ukrainian. Some of them claimed that there was Atlantis on the bottom of the Black Sea. We all have such people, all right? We all have such people. There's one of the guys of the mentioned Russian freedom fighters, actually. He's a movie director who actually worked on a movie that was presented recently in Ukraine. Some of Ukrainians were actually protesting this because, even despite the fact that he's fighting against Putin, literally with arms in his hands, but they were protesting because he's a Russian national. So we all have such cases, and like we all know that they exist. But like this stuff, I love this so much. Fuck, like Dobroslav, 2025, people were worshipping. I don't know.
He's dead already. Don't worry. He's dead. He's harmless now. But that's a problem. His followers are still alive.
Oh my god, that is just so
Yeah.
so amazing.
For those who doesn't know, there was like a big nationalist environment back in early 2000 in Russia, when in Moscow. So this guy was part of it. Actually, he was older than the rest of us, basically, because but he was nevertheless hilarious.
Yeah. So Gandalf, the beginning. Here it is, my dear friends. It's there. Before Gandalf reached his adulthood, before he turned 235 years old, he spent most of his life literally, wandering in taiga, wandering in the deep taiga in Russian Siberia, talking to gods known under a different name, Volkhv Dobroslav.
Yeah.
Holy Mother of Duck, this is so beautiful, and this is the source actually of like all that Russian cringe related to Russian supernatural powers, like Russian contactless combat. Again, a good example of that. All that shit starts there, actually. Like with that,
Unfortunately.
yeah.
With somebody's mental disease, actually. So everything in Russia starts with somebody's mental disease. So that's how it works.
I couldn't find. I could not describe it better. Like literally yesterday, for example, all of a sudden, all right, I'm like scrolling YouTube, and all of a sudden, I find video dedicated to an exorcist. Like an exorcist is interviewed, all right. Like people ask him different questions. He's like in the studio reading questions from the viewers, and he's professional exorcist. He's like expelling demons from people. He can talk to the dead and other things. And I'm like watching that, and the question, first of all, dear YouTube, why the fuck are you showing me this? You know that, like, well, the thing I can explain is most probably is because, I was Googling for all sorts of contactless combat and shit like that. And that is why Google probably thinks that I'm mentally impaired or something. And Google is showing that to me. But he was literally answering questions. Do people often think that you're mad? And he's like, yeah, a lot of people think that I'm mad. He's not Russian. He's like actually English-speaking exorcist, right? And I felt like actually that is.
Offended by YouTube?
I think I work in a wrong place, all right? Because that dude received so much views, all right? That I don't know. He could probably buy like a freaking helicopter after that. Like Living Exorcist, it was year 2025. People tried to go to Mars. Holy God! Like I don't care about about paganism as a religion. If search for things that make us happier, calmer, more confident, and things like that. But in the case of this specific person, all right. Like look at this freaking stare.
This calls a dopamine prihod, if I'm not mistaken. Like let me get the appropriate word for that in English. That is dopamine euphoria. There is a proper word for that, actually. I forgot it. But yeah, this is a dopamine euphoria which we're facing on the picture. Definitely, this, you can tell. Actually, you can tell. Yeah.
To me, it looks like, I don't know, hyperventilation, probably. Oh my God!
That's a part of it. That's a part of it.
Oh my God. So, some other cringy news. Several Russian public opinion makers, all right, let's call them opinion makers, actually said that they want to ban the Masha and Medved, the Masha and the Bear cartoon, because it's not orthodox enough. So basically they said that this cartoon is not representing the traditional values. Masha is being raised by a bear. and also the very, very main character, the protagonist, Masha herself, is capricious, she's demanding. In Ukraine, for example, a lot of people notice that, like, when you look at Masha in one of the episodes, she was wearing like this NKVD hat, all right? They noticed that actually this was, this subtle propaganda of, not even propaganda, but justification of this image of NKVD murderer in the mind of, children that grow up. And when they see that, they will understand that that's something dear and good, Here we can see on the other side of the spectrum, we can see that this cartoon is being banned or offered to be banned in the Terrorist Federation by different Russian opinion makers. I believe that tell me your opinion, but in my personal opinion, that's because Masha is actually she's not orthodox enough. She is not. She doesn't go to church. All right. She doesn't have a husband, and she's not breeding soldiers for Putin's army, and that's basically the reason why they want to shut it down. Tell me what you think about this one.
Yeah, if I would ban, if I would have to ban on it, I would see what I see from the Russian perspective. First of all, yeah, like let me impersonate myself a little bit. Let me speak like a Russian, like a typical Russian. First of all, she's a minor. Okay. Second of all, she lives with a grown-up man alone. Third of all, she's involved in some activities which cannot be named neither like educational, okay, nor appropriate for kids, considering she's living with an adult man. Next thing,
With
she
an
doesn't go
adult
to church.
Bayer. Bayer.
Uh, uh, that's I would not go that deep, but in general, yes. If you could, if you would develop this topic, then yes, definitely yes. But all in all, like he's like a representation of a grown-up man, yeah, grooming on a minor. That's what we see here. Now I would speak like a Russian. Okay, now and yes, she's a minor. She is useless for propaganda. She doesn't breed kids. She doesn't follow the rules. She doesn't go to church, and she has no rules. She lives in the perfect world, okay, where laws of Russian Federation do not apply, and that's one that's gonna be banned. Okay, if you're asking for my personal opinion, I really don't really watch this stuff. I think it's for kids, and I don't see it harmful for kids. It's just a cartoon. Children don't think this way. Okay, they don't see it like a something that you should learn or something that you should be aware about. That's why for me it's fine. I mean, it's Jay, come on, yeah. I don't think it's so bad.
Same here. Like the movie, the cartoon was. It was suggested. It was suggested to ban this cartoon on television and streamings. We will see how it turns. But what else do we have? This one is fucking crazy. Like seriously, I was compiling this list of updates for my friends. Did you see the ape planet, the planet of apes? You know, when there's a virus and apes run away and this virus spreads. So in the United States, it's not related to our topic. Let's just get distracted a bit. In the United States, a truck in Pennsylvania, actually, a truck carrying a bunch of apes that were infected with different viruses, has stumbled over, all right, and 5 apes actually managed to get away. So they were infected with hepatitis, with herpes, coronavirus, and probably something else. And 5 apes actually managed to get away from the captivity. 4 of them were captured, all right, they were returned, but one of them is now running free. The truck was heading from the University of Tulane from University of Tulane in Florida to the laboratory in Pennsylvania. And the driver knew that he's carrying a dangerous biomaterial. Here, for example, we can see this on the video. Like there's, it's not an ape. I think that's just a monkey, right? Over there.
Yeah.
Wait a second.
Had 12 monkeys. Yeah, that's nice.
Holy shit.
Yeah, but that's so sad actually. They are like, I don't know. I understand. Okay, that's some controversial topic we are touching. Okay, now, like I understand that science needs data. Okay,
Yeah.
because like everyone is benefits on it, and if you think of it, okay, having some mortalities, not mortalities, like casualties, like here and there on the animal side does not sound that bad, but the scale of and the speed which science is moving forward is tremendous. It's very, very fast. So like they need more and more victims. Okay, and I prefer to call them victims. Okay, because animals cannot give any consent. They cannot. Yeah, they cannot object, and that's why people getting themselves voluntarily into some experimental medicine tests and everything is totally fine. Yeah, I would. I want to I did sign up for Neuralink. I hope Mr. Musk notices me. Yeah, but I mean, animals cannot give consent. I mean, that's so cruel. And I understand that in past we had no choice basically, right? We had no source of data anywhere. But like corpses, acquiring corpses, like they did in Great Britain, right? Like and they even released the act that allowed doctors to acquire corpses legally. That was passed in 1857, or 37 something. But there were like cases documented of like people or children in this case, okay, being mummified or being dissected and displayed, okay, for all the medical personnel, like right before that, and not all the time these people or these children were taken like after their death, sometimes before, if you know what I mean. So this not, and that's the whole thing. Like we can go far if we're allowed to use animals. Why aren't we allowed to use children? Okay, if we're allowed to use children, why aren't we allowed to use adults? Why aren't we allowed to use everyone for the sake of nature or for the sake of science? Sorry,
Yeah,
topic
yeah.
that should not. Yeah,
I absolutely agree with you. It's crazy. Those poor creatures, they cannot protest against being experimented on, and that is absolutely disgusting. And for example, again, there's a lot of people who actually offer themselves, all right, for money, like offer their like volunteer, all right, for different experiments. Again, absolutely amazing, brave people who ready to sacrifice, of course, for some kind of reward, and save humanity. We can solve so many problems again with modern technologies that actually allow to decipher the genetic code of, I don't know, cancer cells. All right, we already have that using AI, and we still do that crazy
exactly.
shit involving animals. 100%, I completely agree with you. Yeah, but the very updates. What do you think? Will we see the Planet of Apes in the real life? If it's true.
Well, but that would be one hell of a story. But I mean, the most realistic way is like poor animals will just die because they are not accustomed to living in the wild. So yeah,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
yeah, unfortunately. So in Simferopol, my God, how is it called? Heating and power station in Gvardeyskaya, not far from the very Simferopol city, was also hit overnight. And that is the reason why we could see that huge wave of drones heading towards the temporarily occupied Crimea. According to the local authorities, a tiny tank with something flammable was set on fire. Nothing to see, everything is good. Please don't panic. This is not smoke. This is a Holy Spirit protecting Orthodox Russian population from whatever evil you can imagine. That cloud, that's literally a ghost of Putin himself that went down
Holy
from the
Ghost, I
sky.
would say,
Yeah,
around
yeah.
the city. Yeah.
Not just holy. It's fucking divine. It's like the holiest shit you can imagine. Again, a very good bonus, all right. Natalia Poklonskaya. So, why did I post this stuff? So basically, the very fact that we're laughing at her right now is dangerous because one of the Russian Nazi. What's his name? Mardan. Whatever, a Russian talking head that speaks on the Russian television. So he actually published her personal data online. All right, he was also laughing at Radveda Vladimirovna, as she is known today. He was laughing at her, and eventually he got sued by her. All right, so she sued him, and. Fuck! It's insane. Like again, returning to this person, I remember that she was fanatic Orthodox Christian, like way beyond what is proper. All right, because she was spreading all sorts of bullshit. Miracles. Look at this. Look at the sky. Can you see like this? This cloud looks like Jesus Christ and Holy Mary. This particular cloud looks like my ass though, but this is a very accurate representation of Holy Mary and Jesus Christ. It's a miracle, you know? And then all of a sudden she turned like 180% and became a fucking... Oh my God, that's crazy.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. These people don't care what to believe in. They just have this obsessive compulsive syndrome, okay, which basically throws them against anything that they consider, worthwhile, like the salvation, okay, in this case. So whatever goes, whatever works. Okay, and of course, she didn't need that. That's the thing. I agree with you. She didn't have to do this. She didn't have to do this part. She was already on the right side, as she thought. She was already like in blended in Russian, I don't know, reality. You can say so. Yes, she didn't have to do that, and that's why I suspect there's something mental going on. Maybe not that difficult. I mean, not that serious, but still.
Absolutely. And we have just a couple of few interesting updates because, again, I don't want to keep you for long because I know that you'll be busy later. And also, I don't want to keep our dear friends, yikes, immediately fucking huilo on the screen. So, according to NBC News, that's, again, we are translating stuff here for you, my friends, because all that stuff goes in either in Ukrainian or in Russian, and that is why we are here. According to the NBC News, the American intelligence cannot find any signs that Putin is ready for peace, all right, for the peace talks. They actually asked intelligence to analyze and tell them if this bloody maniac is ready for peace. I will tell you this, I don't need intelligence actually to tell that, all right? Because 4 years of fucking atrocious war of Russia in Ukraine, I think would be probably enough to understand that most probably no, he didn't start this war, to end it peacefully, all right? It wasn't really his intention. My God. American intelligence doesn't see signs Putin wants peace.
Why do we discuss this seriously? I mean, what kind of news is this? They think that there are no signs. What signs do we need? If he let his troops out of Ukraine, that would be a sign, a good sign, good enough. Okay, otherwise, what kind of signs are you talking about? Moving his brow in the reaction of your words is not a sign. It's bullshit.
Absolutely. Sarah says ready for Budanov scooter. Actually, I agree. Budanov should send more scooters, all right, to the terrorist federation.
Do you know about Budanov? Do you know about this last name? In general?
Budanov?
Okay, let me enlighten you. Basically, Russia and Ukraine, okay, they have two sets of assets. They have two Gordons, okay, which one Alexander, one some other boat guy I don't want about. And there are two sets of Budanovs, okay. Budanov, Ukrainian guy, we know him, but there was another guy called Budanov in Russia who happened to be a Russian. I think he was I'm not sure if he was a general. We all used to call him a General Budanov, but I'm not sure if he actually was a general. Yeah. So basically, this guy was participating in the Chechenian war. I think first or even second campaign. There was like a very like at the beginning, and he was captured and prosecuted, being allegedly an offender to a very young Chechenian girl whom he allegedly raped and killed. And basically, he went on trial. He was prosecuted and sentenced to, like I think, 10 years or something. He got out, and he decided he would go to politics. And considering the time, uncertain time, and the moods of the people at that time, he would have had a big chance to at least not to win, but to become a new known public figure. Okay, uh, regarding his allegations, okay, and these things which he allegedly did, there is a lot of controversy about it. And my father-in-law happened to be not a friend, but he used to know him because, like, this is the one environment basically. Yeah, it's a one playground in the south of Russia. And basically, he told me that's again allegedly, yeah, I'm just speculating, that this guy was involved, but indirectly, in that assault. Okay, and the thing was they captured some Chechenian snipers, female snipers, which we're all aware about, and she was one of those, and something did go wrong, and she ended up there. But what happened? Who was at fault? Like, why him? Why not anyone else? No one knows. So this is one of those the designated criminals, war criminals of modern Russia, basically. Yeah, and that's Russian Budanov, ladies and gentlemen.
That's a Budanov of a smoker, all right. Budanov of a healthy person is in Ukraine.
Correct.
So, and yeah, we have just a tiny summary regarding the known targets, all right, because I can see on the news that there's already more details emerged, but what we know as of this morning is that, first of all, in Gvardeyskaya, Crimea, the oil refinery / oil storage was hit. There was a very, very big fire that started around 6 a.m. in the morning. And by the way, earlier, the same very base was already burning during the attack that took place literally just around 2 weeks ago. Then Mariyski and PZ Yoshkar-Ola in Russia, the Russian oil refinery that provides fuel to the whole region, was also hit. We know about another fire that started there. Another refinery, NS Oil, Novospask, Ulyanovsk, all right, beautiful Ulyanovsk. That still gives me shivers.
Yeah.
The refinery that actually provides the oil to the whole Povolzhia is also hit and damaged with good Ukrainian drones. And then Stavrolian, the military / civilian, but generally military facility, military plant that produces different chemical materials made out of oil and stuff like that, was also hit. I know that it produces explosives and polyethylenes and things like that. So those 4 major targets were hit overnight. My friends, again, I think that this is very motivating considering the fact that Russia started this war in 2022 thinking that nothing bad will happen, all right? 3 more days, Ukraine collapses, or maybe 2 weeks, Ukraine collapses, everything will be good, we will be drinking vodka, sitting somewhere on the ruins of Khreshchatyk.
Maidan, sorry. Yeah,
Maidan. and everything will be fine. Russian tanks, on Maidan. We've seen Russian tanks on Maidan, by the way.
Yeah.
Every Independence Day of Ukraine since 2022, we see a lot of Russian tanks on Maidan. And also, they expected that everything will be fine. Whatever Putin does, nothing bad happens to Russians themselves, who actually, a lot of them supported this shit. Again, as the recent Russian polls said that we talked about in some previous episodes, Russian support of Putin actually grew. Now it's around 65% as of 2025. It was only around, it was less than 60 before the full-scale invasion. During the full-scale invasion, all of a sudden, I don't know, a number of millionaires in Russia immediately grew up. All right, there's a lot of those millionaires fertilizing Ukrainian soil in Donbass. So, Greg, yes, this is live as always. All right, we are streaming live, but generally speaking, we're already summing up because we want to do our work and have breakfast. Me especially, I'm literally starving here. All right, operator starving in the chat. Did you
Starving, yeah.
did you have breakfast, Sophia? What did you have?
Oh, just coffee, just my regular morning coffee. Like I
Yeah,
love it.
same here. We got. Yeah, I don't know. I have Mabahandula. If Mabahandula behaves bad, I will freaking
The crap out of it.
grill him. Yeah,
Yay.
but this fucker, he doesn't even speak when I talk to him, which is bad because I feel lonely. Anyways, my dear friends, we will be wrapping this up. Sophia, is there anything you would like to say to our dear family? They're in the chat and generally watching us right now.
Yeah, I mean, thank you. This is the amazing opportunity to speak in front of an English speaking audience, and this is like a insane. This is valuable. It's highly, incredibly valuable because I want that was my idea at the beginning. Okay, I want people to be more united. All around the world, because this is crazy. India doesn't know what Pakistan does. Indians don't know how Pakistanis live. Russians don't know how Ukrainians live, and vice versa. This is crazy. So that's why, I'm just happy, incredibly happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Always interesting to hear your perspectives. Fuck, I didn't know that the Russian population is actually shrinking so bad. That's fucking insane. They lost almost as much as the whole Ukrainian population right now.
Exactly. You can, okay. This didn't start in 2022. Okay, just for the record, it didn't. It did not even start in 2014. Did not. But all these policies, okay, all these actions through from 1992, yeah, through these years, only led up in the drop of population. And despite they are allowing migrants come and all these Middle Asian countries, okay, which don't adapt to the stable situation whatsoever. But I understand why, yeah, but it does not help. They cannot produce this many children to substitute the deficiency that they have in now. It doesn't work like that. I'm not sure from where they're gonna source more people from Africa, maybe. That's what they're trying to do, basically, yeah, from some still friendly African countries, which are still friendly, yeah, and from North Korea, but again, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Will we see more Russians coming to the beautiful beaches of North Korea? How do you think? I think that.
Oh, definitely, definitely, yeah.
Yeah. It will take a bit more time to travel to the North Korea on a train than, for example, flying to Turkey, because their aviation is unfortunately failing as well, big time. But on the other hand, North Korea is a beautiful place, all right? Beaches are absolutely empty. There's no one on the streets, all right? It's just beautiful. It's basically like in Pripyat. We will be wrapping this up, my dear friends. Thank you so much for watching us. Big thanks to all the moderators my dear friends Extelis and BT Jin and Bridget, Rob, Dump Trump, Steve, Motobloke, Jean, and Vintage Mom, and everyone else. Was such a pleasure to see you, my friends. We'll see you tomorrow, probably. If I'm not like deadly asleep, we will see each other. I hope I will, I don't know, replace my blood with coffee and just, stream like crazy. Sophia, thank you so much. Again, we'll see you in the future streams. It's an enormous pleasure to hear your opinion on what is going on around the world, and specifically in the Russia, because we are lucky to have you here to like decipher stuff, because as a person who came to Ukraine, of course you had a reason to do that. And I'm happy that you're there in relatively safe environment and can explain things to us. So thank you so much. We'll see you later, my dear friends. Won't be keeping you any longer occupied. We'll see you later. As always, be safe. Much love to beautiful Europe, Asian part of the world, and our viewers from both Americas, and of course heroic Cardiff. You are in our hearts. We love you, dear citizens of Cardiff. You are absolutely legendary. Much respect to you all. See you and bye-bye.
Thank you.